Coming up on this episode of the Spiro Podcast.
It just kind of catches you every now and then. You got to really take a step back and look at it and then say, okay, let's assess where this is at. And let's assess where it's at compared to where I was at that time, a year before or some other thing that gauge. So same thing, like, are you the same photographer you were a year ago? And you're not. You're going to be better than that. Are you the same business owner you were a year ago? And you're not. You've improved in so many ways. So it's just really taking the time to do that self-assessment and looking at that and saying, okay, what has changed? Where have the improvements been? And then focusing on that and lean into them to help you get through that little darker patch that hits us.
Welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Kivimaki and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro Podcast, managing your real estate media business. Spiro is a software platform. It's designed from the ground up by real estate photographers for real estate photographers. And we want to see your business not just maintain day to day, but we really want to see you scale with this software. So welcome to the podcast. Excuse me, starting off froggy already. I'm Craig Magrum, and welcome back to another week. And with me each and every week, of course, Spiro founder and owner, co-host of the podcast, Todd Kivimaki. Good morning, Todd.
Craig, good morning to you. Good afternoon, morning, evening, whenever you're coming in for this. I know you're all busy out there. I know busy season is here for many of us and in the U.S. and what is typically 4-season climate. So thank you for tuning in. I've got a great topic today, a guest from Sync. And, I think this is one that we've all struggled with, a topic.
Even a little bit this week, Todd, I've struggled with the topic this week. But yeah, we'll get into that. Before we do introduce our guest, Spiro Updates. What's going on with the software, Todd?
Yeah, just give me 30 seconds on the clock here. You'll see probably right around the time you're listening to this, if not already, you'll see a new update inside of Spiro for you. And so check your email for announcements on that. But some highlights for that. One, all of the mobile versions of the property website, all of the templates have been completely polished off, refreshed with mobile versions, mobile designs, so that they are working nice and look great and are just a great presentation of your media for your clients. So that is in there. Also, the launch of making video download on iOS. Y'all already actually have it. I loved it so much, and you guys were asking for it that, like, I asked William, can we just push it now? So that is already out where your clients are clicking download on iOS. Android, it always worked this way. But on iOS, they're clicking download, and that video and or photos are going straight to the camera roll or the camera device. So then your clients can quickly go to any social media site, Instagram, for example, click upload. And when they click upload, they're going to browse from what's in their camera. Their video will be right there the first thing. So we wanted to make it simple, had a ton of feedback on that. So thank you for that. It is that easy now. It's a one-click download straight to the camera.
And everybody said, amen, hallelujah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you all love spending time with your agents on telling them how to disable pop-up blocker, download it, go to downloads, open it up, share it over to photos, open up photo. Yeah. Like it was, I know you won't get to do that now, but maybe you'll just have coffee with your agents instead of that.
There we go. There we go. Coffee sounds good. I should have made a cup. I didn't.
You haven't had coffee yet today, Craig?
I haven't had coffee. I haven't had caffeine, but I'm okay. I'm
giving it up.
Right.
That's good for you.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm giving it up, but anyway. All right. Well, without further ado, Todd, we've been having a series going featuring speakers both on the main stage and breakout sessions and workshops from the Spiro Sync conference back in January. And I've just really been enjoying this, hearing everybody's presentations. Obviously, we couldn't get to everybody's presentation. So I've really been enjoying this. And we have another one of our breakout session workshop session speakers featured this week. Todd, I'm going to let you introduce our guest.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I've gotten to know him and his wife over the years. Great family, great owner operator. Chris Thompson with CST Media Productions. Welcome to the show, Chris. Great to have you on here.
Thank you guys for letting me come play with you today.
Yeah. So, Chris, for those of us that don't know you, or those listeners that don't know you, can you just give us a little background as to how you got in the media, where you operate from, kind of what your team looks like?
Okay. Yeah. So it's CST Media Production. So it's Chris, Sharon, Thompson, CST. Shocking. We did that. But we're up located in Central New York. So not New York City, the middle of the actual state. And people would get confused that all the time. So I always pick on it when I get calls like, can you come shoot a house in Brooklyn? No.
No.
So that happens quite a bit. How it started is actually I was doing drone first. It's like, let's say 2018, end of 2018, 2019, and just doing drone for real estate agents, starting there, trying to build that business. And then what happened is COVID. And I still had my day job at that time, and that business just dropped to zero. Because at that point, when agents finally got to work again, because they became essential, what happened was they went to where like, okay, you take a cell phone photo of the house, it's sold over asking at that point. So they didn't need much media. So then I was sitting there and like talking to my wife, and we had the day jobs, and I was going crazy in that at the time. And we were sitting there going, I was like, I'd really like to just be able to learn how to do the rest of the, real estate media so I could do all that too. And then it'd be more valuable. And my wife found a course, Eli's, and we had that, and that's how we learned it. And we started that up in 2020. So you figure right still in the middle of COVID. And I went from there. And that's how we got going on it. And we've been building ever since. We are now running with a team of, I'm still shooting way too much. I know that. I'm looking right at you, Todd. But we have a team of like, I'm full-time. My wife, because she has a day job, which covers health insurance, and very important to have. And, we know that story, or we'll share that story if you guys want. With that, what happened there is we have her part-time. We have 2 part-time photographers. We're working on bringing on a third one because right now the last half of the week is still only me. So I need someone else to help alleviate that there. We have our social media manager, and then we also have our QC person, and we also have 2 other VAs as well. They're both part of the social media platform, but one is our video editor that does that, and the other one's a researcher for our social media management program that we have. So just a little busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happens.
I love that, Chris. I think that connects with so many of our listeners out there who I know so many people got started around that COVID time, and that is kind of like one of those problems that turns into like, hey, job no longer, or job is, not able to. And so kudos to you for looking for something else. And, it's always fun how it connects back into, you're doing drone and technology. And I think many of us got started that way because we had a piece of equipment, whether it be a drone or a camera or something different, video, and segued into that. Now, looking at growing and building a business, one thing you mentioned, and this is going to be a brief tangent, Craig, from what our topic is, but I think it's important because I get asked this question all the time, and I went through this with my family, but you had an unfortunate accident happen last year, Chris, and you mentioned health insurance. Your wife carries it. Just wanted to say about the impact, like tell us what happened and the impact of that and what that did to your business and how you guys got past it.
Sure. So what happened in May 18th of last year, so we're like almost at 9 months now, is I was shooting a video at a house, and I was doing the reels. I was going backwards, doing the reveal, like here's a doorway, here's a chandelier they have right in the foyer, and it was an open staircase right into the basement, and down I went.
Oh no.
There's a lot of positive though. And I know it sounds crazy, but there is. Basically, I ended up, I did such a good job. I broke 4 bones in my wrists. I shattered one so bad that after the month of when you normally get looked at again to see if you can start physical therapy, we had to wait 3 more weeks and it still looked fractured. So my doctor, my surgeon, he told me I was the top 5 worst injuries he had last year. So, if you're going to go all out, go all out. So, and as crazy as it sounds, I call that my lottery ticket winning moment. Now, why I call it that, and I'm going to lay into that first. So right now we're talking 9 months later, I'm still in physical therapy twice a week, 2 hours at a time. Wow. And I'm grateful for it. So, and why I call my lottery ticket moment is because it couldn't have gotten any better, really. The agent that I got hurt with is actually someone I've been friends with for over 40 years. She's had first aid training and first aid experience. And yes, you'll see a little kitty going here. That's my babies. Yeah, we have visitors. And then what also happened there is the owner of the house is actually someone I used to teach martial arts, so I taught him a little bit too. So we
Huh.
had him going on, and he knew that. And his son was home from college, and he just graduated nursing school.
Hmm.
So, and then on top of that, we were at the EMTs were there in 7 minutes flat, and that for that
Wow.
area, usually it's like 20 minutes, and usually you're in your car driving to the EMTs to meet them somewhere. So you couldn't have gotten much luckier. We got to the hospital and all that, and I started, I had like fragment memories of the fall itself, and not much of it. We have the whole thing on video, by the way, because we were recording. My wife has watched the whole video. I have not, but I will definitely watch the whole video eventually. But we cut it, so we actually made a funny video out of it, like the falls, what we've called it. We shared it on Facebook. I actually showed it during my presentation. I mean, like the first 8 seconds, because at 10 seconds people started screaming. So I don't remember any of it, so it's fine for me. I didn't hear any of that stuff. So I really started coming back to it with cognitive function in the back of the ambulance. I'm like, this really happened, didn't it? And they're like, yeah, it did. And then, sorry, cattail. But
We're laid back on this. It's all right.
I got it the other day where he was literally sitting right here with his eyeballs staring right into it. So, but they participated with the test. So what we did there though is started regaining cognitive function. So the first idea is like ask the EMTs their name, trying to see if they're assess my mental health state, not mental health, but how well my brain was still working. Is I like having functionality of brain. That's important to me.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but yeah.
Just a little bit. So what I ended up with is like the 4 broken bones in the wrist. I had 3 staples in my head, and getting those taken out was kind of funny because all right, this is a lot of hair for me. So when they're trying to pull the staples out like 10 days later, they're literally going like this. I'm like, oh, so that was hilarious. And then I had a bruise that only my wife got to see because basically it was my right hip and my right back buttocks, we'll say. And it wasn't black and blue, it was black. So my friend Calvin is black. I was like, dude, this makes you look white, and he laughed at me for it, but it was fun. But yeah, so that was the fun moment from last year. And we got out of the emergency room, let's say about 7 a.m. And I had jury duty that morning. So I walked into jury duty with my arm, this giant cast. They looked at me like, are you okay? I'm like, not really. It's like, can we reschedule this? And they rescheduled me, which, they very understanding on that. But you can't show up. You can't call them Sunday night, and not report to jury duty.
Right,
Like,
right.
we're already downtown. It's right there. I just went and showed up and said hi,
Oh my goodness.
So the recovery on that was fun. So what happened is obviously we had to reschedule a couple days of shooting, and my wife went with me on shoots. So you're talking like the first 3 days, we didn't do anything like that. And then what happened is I turned around and Sharon went with me to do the shoot. She did the interior, exterior photos, and I was flying the drone with my hand in this giant cast, and it was like, oh, I can kind of use the thumb if I go like this. So it was pretty fun that way. Then,
You keep using this word fun.
yes.
I don't think you understand the word meaning of this word. I'm thinking Princess Bride. If you keep using that word, I don't think you understand. Sorry.
Hey, everyone's got their takes on life. I'm
You're
going
right.
on.
I love it, Chris. Amazing positive attitude. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's my game plan in life. So when that happened is, and then we actually went on vacation to Virginia Beach. So it was like after I had the surgery, and because I don't like the idea of drugs at all. Like seriously, don't drink, don't smoke, never done drugs. I don't like the idea of painkillers. So you had the option of a nerve block. So I got the nerve block done, and that was at the 10 days we had the surgery mark. And then from there, what happened is my arm was like hanging dead. It was hilarious and like that. And then that was one day. Then we managed it with just like acetaminophen, ibuprofen, and we drove down to Virginia Beach for vacation. So, and I drove most of that trip because that was the only thing I could do to contribute. And I was like, I got one hand, I could drive. So that was fun. And then we came from that 15 days later, I was shooting again.
My goodness.
Chris.
And by the way,
Wow.
I talk real fast.
That is amazing, Chris. One thing that just came to mind to me was, as business owners, there's variables in life that are going to come at you. And even not as business owners, I try to teach this to my 7th grade basketball team. But there's things that we cannot control in our life, and things that happen, and we can always play the what if game. And I could have done something differently, but life happens, and bad things happen in life. And as a business owner, it's important that we move past the bad that happened that we can't control, and we focus on what we can control. And as I hear you tell that story, Chris, like, bravo to just like the mindset of like, I've had staples pulled out of my head before from an accident, and like the idea of thinking, oh, that was fun, like, let me smile. And like I think it's important as a business owner and to have that attitude, because there's so much in life that if we read it, if we watch it, listen to, if we consume it, like, we're gonna think life's really, really bad. And there are bad things that happen, if you allow them to compile, that's when you get into that idea of an owner's trap. And I talked about this at Rep 2025 last year, of like times in life when I was in this trap of an owner, and it's this mindset. Chris, have you always been that positive, or is that a learned behavior? This idea of like, hey, everything, yeah, oh, great, this is a terrible thing that happened, a great opportunity for me to figure something out.
That's actually one of the funniest things about it. I used to be very negative and very serious all the time. And like as young, especially like, even like if I saw someone from high school, for example, in grade, I was like 30, 40 years ago, I would never expect them to talk to me how much of a mean person I was back then.
Interesting.
So a couple years ago, it's like, I know it sounds cheesy, and I get it sounds cheesy, but it's that there's like try to find something to be grateful for every day. I know you guys talk about it a lot. I firmly believe in that, and I don't care what it is, no matter how bad the day goes, you can find something to be grateful for. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It's a tiny little thing. The sun's shining today. We're in upstate New York. We're always cloud covered, so we get sunshine. I'm ecstatic. It's like I see sun this morning. I'm like, holy crap! It's wintertime. I see sun today. Oh, I love that fact. But by doing that, and it takes like a year or so, but your aspects will start to change. You appreciate things more. And I didn't realize this was happening. And what happened is I was sitting there, I was at a broker had an event. I was there for it, and I knew the owner, and he's a nice guy. He's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, dude, my life is fantastic. He's like, wow, that's a really positive way to look. And I didn't even realize I was doing that until that. And that was like 2 years ago. And I know I said every time, I know what I said during the thing. It's like, it's not just, you're having a good day. It's like, you're having a fantastic day. It's great. You're upright. You're walking. Your loved ones are okay. You're doing good. I mean, we were at a conference. We get to learn stuff, and things, especially it was like, it's a perfect timing for it. So it's not like we're in busy season going crazy on it right now, trying to fit it in. It was great for that timing. So, and we got to sit there and learn so much new stuff, see new other people's ideas. I mean, what's not to love about that? So that's why I just aim for the positive. There's always positive there. We just got to ignore the negative. I mean, yes, it's real, but there's more positive than there's negative every day of the week.
So you just kind of found yourself floating into that positive mindset. There wasn't like one seminal moment where you decided, I'm going to quit thinking negatively, or you just kind of grew into that?
It took, I actively made the change of trying to find the positive, but, you see people that like, it's like, okay, let's talk about Gary Vee for a second. Just like, here's a guy that, he's very colorful, he's fun, but he's also very positive, and that's something that we can learn to do too. It's like, you emulate those that you want to become more like, and then that's what you do. Is like, I want to be more positive because there's a lot of good. And I was approaching that escape to the day job when that all started. So that made me very happy, but that's what it is like just finding that good stuff and looking for it. It was actively to find it and search for it. And then it just kind of grew.
Yeah. It's that mental toughness of I think sometimes when the pain of changing is less than the pain of staying in. We talk about that a lot. And as business owners, we can pretty much justify, or at least I can justify about anything. And I think it's not until you actually decide as the business owner that you're going to do something different and then work at it. Chris let us know it took like about a year of working on it. And it does take time. The first time, though, that you do that, the first time when you're angry, because I can stray very negative very quick. And the first time that you decide, like, I'm so angry, I'm mad, I'm just negative, the first time you decide that you're going to find something positive is the hardest. And every time you do that, it gets easier. I'm going to share just a quick example of one thing that I had literally last night. So last night I was sitting at my desk here and I was working like most days. And our varsity basketball team had their first tournament game. And this was about an hour 20 north. And I was still in between if I was going to actually go to the game. I'd have to leave work early and I had things to do. And so one of my best friends from high school calls me. He's like, "Hey, Kiv, you want to go to the game?" I'm like, "Oh, Michael, I don't know. I'm in between. The day's busy. I have a 3:00. I don't know if I can get out." And I justified all these reasons. My son's texting me. He's like, "Hey, we going to the game tonight?" It's like, I could take the bus because he's a ball boy. He could ride the bus. It's a long ride. Anyways, long story short, I went negative. Like, no, I just need to work. And I told my best friend no. I told my son, like, "Hey, just ride the bus. I'll see you after the game." And then I sat here and I was like, "Todd, you are so dumb. Like, this work is always going to be here. You tell your best friend, no, we're not going to ride up and connect together when I haven't seen him for a while. And your son is going to ride up with you with his daughter, and we all know each other well." I'm like, this is just really dumb. And I made the decision. Like, I made it too late. He was already going with his dad, but I got to go up and I brought him back home. But I think where this is relevant for all of you out there is that your work is always going to exist on your computer and the internet. There's always going to be something there. And I know you're all going to say, "No, but I needed to do this for this client. No, but I needed to do it for this project." And if you continue to make those justifications, I don't want you to get down the road when you don't have that opportunity to get it back. Boston's 13. By the time he hits 16, like, he's gone because he's got a car. Like, he's not going to want to go to a basketball game with me very much longer. So I just say that because that really connects with me, this idea of making a change and thinking. Like, if you want to leave work by 5 p.m. or close up your laptop and call work done at 5 p.m., you know what you have to do to make that happen? You have to close your laptop at 5 p.m. Like, we used to talk about, Derek, who helped me run WOW for a long time, we talked about that. It's like, we work here too late. It's like, no, you just need to leave. And like, we would try to hold each other accountable. So the power of your mind, like, Chris, I think you've done a fabulous job with this positivity, because I truly believe in positivity and taking you through, and it's contagious and people notice it, much like that broker did in person. So if you're struggling with something out there, please just know this time that you decide to do it different is going to be the hardest, and it won't be easy. It might take a year or two to develop that habit, but it gets easier every single time.
It's good to surround yourself with people and voices that can speak that into your life as well. I'm just going to be completely transparent. This week has been mentally dark for me. I've shared before, Todd, I've struggled with depression and anxiety, and this week it kind of came to a head. But just listening to the two of you right now, Chris, your positivity, and Todd, your stories, it does lighten the load. The more you sequester yourself and you're by yourself, and I'm by myself a lot on the road, on shoots, working here in my home office. I'm not at our main office down in Lima, Ohio, but when I am, I discover I feel better when I'm around other people that are going to be there to lift me up. So that's a privilege for us on this podcast to be part of that positive voice for you, the owner, who might find yourself alone and getting trapped in your own thinking. Chris, I thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning and already starting the podcast with such positivity, despite a really horrific accident. Like, I was cringing when you were describing falling down those stairs, but
it's so much worse. My brain's functioned. I'm good. So that's it.
Exactly. So you shared that, this broker just responded really positively. What has been the difference for you, before we get into the main topic of imposter syndrome, which is just more mindset talk?
Mm-hmm.
What is the effect that you've seen when you were more negatively focused versus when you morphed and evolved into this positive mindset? What has been the effect on your business or your work world? What difference have you seen?
I would say the difference would be in my relations with the agents I work with. And even that's a slight double-edged sword sometimes. Because with that, what happens is, like, okay, yep, you can go do the shoot, get it done, bring it out there, be efficient, be professional as possible. Or are you someone that they like hanging out with, like talking to and things like that? So
yeah.
in that aspect of like, they know I'm very positive with them. I'm positive with their clients, which is the important part there. So they know that if they can't make it, they have nothing to worry about. And that makes them happier. They know
Right.
that they can trust that.
Yeah.
So with the mindset of imposter syndrome, because this is great. This is a great segue into the topic that you presented with. So maybe just for those listening out there, like I've heard the term before, like what is it? Maybe do I struggle with this? What is imposter syndrome, or where did you see it at in your business, Chris, so that our listeners can connect if maybe they're seeing that in their business?
So easiest way to put it is when you feel like you're not good enough, or someone's going to sit there and figure out you don't know everything, and that you're a charlatan or a scammer or whatever, and you're not. It comes down to oh, I'm not a photographer. Okay, yeah, I'm not shooting, portrait photography, stuff like that. I shoot real estate media, but that's okay. But it could be on anything you do, on any subject. It's like you're learning that, and it really comes down. It's just you have a lower level of experience or expertise than you want, and you feel like you're inadequate from it, and that's all that is. In any field whatsoever. And it comes down to realizing with yourself of, okay, what is it that you do? And the biggest challenge that I see people having that is they're comparing themselves to somebody else, someone that's more successful, someone that's farther along that path. And really, it's like you got to learn to look at yourself and your growth and where you're at. And that's really where you start to see the change on that too.
Mm-hmm.
So how did this topic come to be of importance to you? Is imposter syndrome something you've struggled with?
Oh, of course. I started out, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like trying to get people to like trust me to shoot their house for them. I don't know anything at the time. And I didn't know how to edit well. I failed at that miserably until I got an editor. So, it's like, wow, I suck at that. Maybe this is.
I'm with you, Chris. I'm with you there.
Well, you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it's just realizing, because you're looking at it like, wow, they're using all these great photos, and you don't know if you can do that yourself, or if you can create great videos and things like that. And we all start there. We all start at the beginning one day, and that's what it comes down to. It's like, where are you on that path? And then the biggest thing is, aspire to what you see other people doing, but don't judge yourself against that. Judge yourself on your growth of how you were, even like 3 months ago. So that's what really, you start to see that change there. If you start working on that mindset shift, that's how you can start eliminating that imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Any things that you avoid, or tips or tricks that you use when this comes in? Like you see something, hear something, you recognize. I guess the first step is recognizing that these thoughts exist. Is there any tips or anything that you do that you pick up, like, wait a minute, I'm going to snap out of that? You already hinted towards your positivity, but any ideas with some tips or tricks for our listeners with understanding this is happening, and then like, let me snap out of it?
A lot of it comes down to reframing. So there's a perfect example of this. Like literally the week before I came down to Spiro, I saw an agent that we absolutely love working with, and I saw her post a video from one of our competitors that she did with him instead of us.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it was crushing. It really was.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm looking at it, and the video is just freaking amazing. It was so good. I'm like, that video is awesome. That's all I can say on that. So, I can sit there and have two choices. Either like, let it run me down, which it absolutely could have, or I can turn around and say, okay, you know what? I got something to work on to get better at. And that's okay too. So what I did is, even before I drove down to Spiro, I turned around and sat there and reached out to an agent I know. Was like, hey, I know you represent this builder. Can I go use their house to try a new video style I'm trying to work on, shooting? And they're like, yeah, no problems. I give them the video. They're happy. But, and I'm still not there yet. But that's something I can immediately frame it as like, okay, I can start working on this to get better. And then I realistically say, okay, here's our base video. Now here's our premium video, which is going to be higher quality. And then there's, more chances for premium video. So I can still reframe in that direction and work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That is such a great technique for our listeners out there to just, you're all going to get it. And it's when our left brain is the overthinking side of our brain. And it's what contains, needed items, but that can lie to us sometimes. The main being your fight or flight. Fight or flight instinct senses is great if a car is coming at you 60 miles per hour down the road, that you jump out of the way. Fight or flight is not great when you recognize that a client of yours used a different photographer or videographer, and they had a great video and you don't feel capable of doing that. Fight or flight tells you, oh no, this is bad. I'm not only going to lose this client, but I'm probably going to lose my entire business, and probably everything's going to go belly up, and my car is going to get repoed. My wife's probably going to leave me, and I'm probably going to end up on the streets. Like, that's just what, so you've got to catch yourself. You got to start reframing these things. You got to look for these opportunities. So the reason why I call problems gaps, I don't call them problems at the office, really anywhere in life. They're gaps. They're gaps that we need to get past, and gaps can find a solution to. So with this idea of reframing, Chris, so you saw that happened and you're like, hey, I'm going to do something about it. This time, there's this idea here of like time to implementation that I've talked about a couple of times in the podcast, but like you reframed it, and where did you learn or how did you discover that, like, instead of letting my thoughts go down, let me reframe it, and then let me take a step forward, like immediately, to move in the right direction? Is that kind of like your idea of reframing, and then let me do something immediately?
Yeah, because I don't like to wait for things. Like, a little nuance of me is like, I don't like New Year's resolutions. Like, why wait until New Year's? Start at that. And that's my thing. It's just like, that now's a good day. Let's start today.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do there. And like, I did martial arts for a long time. I actually failed a business there because I had a martial arts school, but it didn't work out. And I did that for 30 years. And COVID was like the final nail in the coffin on that. But, in that you learn, like, you got to grow, you got to progress. There's going to be pain along the way. It's like, it's how you grow. So for me, it's like, okay, something's a challenge. You're just going to start working towards it and work through it. You got to do the grind. Now, it doesn't mean grind 16-hour days, which we've all been guilty of at times, sometimes more. But, that's what it is. You work on it, and you work on it, keep getting better. It's just, even a little bit of progress is still progress compared to, sitting there just wallowing in the self-pity. So I don't like that part.
Chris, did you and I talk about martial arts at the Spiro Sync conference?
I did not have a chance to hunt you down at the same time.
Okay.
Conference to talk to you at all. I saw you talk to other people, and I won't interfere. So, like, Todd, when I said goodbye to you, I felt so bad because I had to interrupt when you're talking to somebody else because I had to like leave to beat that weather storm that was coming in.
Sorry for the rabbit trail, Todd.
I was thinking that too. I was like, wonder if I was like,
because somebody did come up to me. Hey, how's the jujitsu going? I'm like, oh, I haven't been in jujitsu actually for a while. Kind of screwed up my shoulder because I tried an escape that didn't work. And anyway, they caught my attention. It's like, I still love watching jujitsu videos. I'm like, I kind of want to get back into it. But anyway, sorry for the aside, guys.
Great.
It's a good side, though. It's a really good side.
So, Chris, a lot of us struggle with imposter syndrome. I struggle with it on and off still to this day. I'm kind of curious how it affects your business, making the change away from that. Do you have any like practical examples or stories that you can share with the audience right now about how to deal with it and the effects it's had and whatnot?
Yeah. So this was about November of last year. And it was just a slow week. And we all get them. It throws you off. I mean, you're busy and like that. And I was actually talking to a competitor because we'll meet him like a couple times a year, have lunch together. And he had a busy week, and it just really sat there, and it just hit me to where I was like, wow, like, we suck. I'm failing at this business completely. We're going to crash. And when that happened, though, it's like, it took me a day or two, admittedly. Then I was like, wait a minute. We just already did our total gross for last year. We already passed that. We're going up well above that. So it's like, we're not failing. It's just a slow week. And it's all it was. But we needed to breathe. So, I try to look at it that way there. But like, it catches you. It'll still catch you all the time. But you're talking, at that time, we were double sixes still. And, we were doing great. It was not an issue. But it just caused that, like, he was having a good week and we had the slow week. And then, ironically enough, the week before, he had the slow week and we had the busy week. But it just kind of catches you every now and then. You got to really take a step back and look at it and then say, okay, let's assess where this is at. And let's assess where it's at compared to where I was at that time, a year before or some other thing that gauge. So same thing, like, are you the same photographer you were a year ago? And you're not. You're going to be better than that. Are you the same business owner you were a year ago? And you're not. You've improved in so many ways. So it's just really taking the time to do that self-assessment and looking at that and saying, okay, what has changed? Where have the improvements been? And then focus in on that and lean into them to help you get through that little darker patch that hits us.
I'm thinking about what we've discussed so far, and we've approached this from the standpoint of an owner dealing with imposter syndrome. But with the part-time photographers that you have you ever had incidents where people that are working for you deal with imposter syndrome? And if so, how have you coached them through that, Chris?
They definitely have concerns every now and then. And, so we try to do the meetings like every other week that we get together. And first thing we do is wins of the week. We got to start that. Even if they didn't shoot because there's slow season right now, it's like, hey, I don't care if it's in your personal life. What's a win? Give us a win.
Mm-hmm.
But then
that sounds familiar, Todd.
it's a real good strategy. It's like, we have to do that. I can't remember whether it's from Todd or from Eli. I was like, we have to start doing that. We took that too for that same reason. And so with them, I'll talk to them about it, or it's like, you see some of the photos where we critique them, like, well, this one's a little off, and this is what I would have done differently. So even, when they're shooting it, like they didn't move a couch that they should have moved, or move the chair out of the way, so the image. So we'll talk about that, and then if it's like, all right, well, I'll go with them on a shoot, and then it's like, we'll go through this together and we'll work it out. It's like, they shoot the regular houses, but when it's Airbnb, it's a little different. So I try to make sure if they're not sure that I can go with them, or we'll follow up afterwards to work on it more. That way they're more comfortable for next time, and obviously they'll do better. So that's what we try to handle that way with them.
Chris, I think that's a great reminder, and something that I still need to be very cognizant of is, as the owner of your business, you are the voice, and people look to you, and they look to you to be positive or negative, and they look to you like, is this acceptable or not? And as the owners, we need to set those expectations, and we need to give them, just a light in their life. I always challenge myself and then everyone in the team, and everyone on the team can be a leader, but can you impact a person in a way that night they go home and they sit with their, husband, wife, significant other, their friends, and they say, hey, I learned this thing today. Or can you believe what Todd asked me to do or asked me for advice on? I think it's just so powerful, and I've underestimated it so long in my business that it's like it was in my head, so I didn't think it mattered to anyone else. And just that communication and that example setting is ultimately going to be what builds your culture at your company.
So, Chris, just as we're getting close to the end of the episode here, I always like to ask our guests if there was one like final piece of advice, one thing that you've learned related to imposter syndrome as an owner. What's your one best piece of advice you would give to, say, a newer owner that might be struggling with that feeling right now?
Learn to look at yourself. I mean, look for others for inspiration, yes, but only gauge your growth on yourself. We all sit there and look at that top person that's, doing insane videos, things like that. And like, okay, you might be there yet, but have your videos improved in the last 6 months, or your photos improved in the last 3 months? Are your customers happy? Are the clients calling, complaining? If they're not, that's a huge improvement. So that's a huge win there. Always try to look at yourself more than that. And that internal focus allows you to sit there and then, make a better judgment on what you need to improve upon.
Good stuff. Yeah. Comparison. What there's a phrase about comparison just being the enemy. And I'm blanking out, but that's how it goes.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll find it afterwards. Maybe I'll put it in the show description. But you can always find a silver lining, because that person that you might be comparing yourself to that has the amazing top end, luxury type videos that's just killing it, they're probably charging a whole lot more and not able to serve clients that may not have the budget for that sort of thing, or not have the type of listings that warrants that kind of video. That's where you can step in and fill a niche, fill a need. And so, yeah, always reframing it. Like you said earlier in the episode, Chris, reframing that issue and just approaching it differently can be a world of difference. Todd, anything final from you?
Yeah, I just love to think about as I think about this, like really important quotes in the history of time. And one comes to mind, and it happens to be from Kung Fu Panda. And I use this a lot. But the teacher, the head Shifu, he is training Po, who's the panda, Jack Black. And Jack Black, the character, is trying to be the master, Shifu. and he's striving, and he finally realizes, like, I don't need to be you. I need to be me.
Mhm.
And as funny as it, yeah, like I get it. It's not like one of the most beautiful masterpieces of quotes in history, but it's so true. And it's like, there's always going to be better and more. And there's so much influence on us in 2026, y'all, with the internet and everything in our face that we have to deal with, that if you are always striving and changing to be what you see in someone else,
Mhm.
I don't know that you're ever going to get there. And I think it's just going to push you into that owner's trap. So you need to decide who you need to be, and then just work towards, one step at a time, like Chris said, being you and not your competitor, not someone who's been in it for 23 years. Like, that's what I always say. Like, don't try to be me. Like, I've done this 23 years. And if you knew all the mistakes that I made, you would cry with me. But
Yeah.
so be you, define who you need to be, and then just be happy with that.
Right. Yeah. None of us are ever going to get 100% of the market. We're never going to win every single client out there.
Mhm.
And it's okay to be okay with that. I was thinking about a realtor couple in my market that I'm like, I'm probably not going to get them. And it's okay, because I've got all these other clients that like me, like my work ethic. I'm still making progress. I'm hitting goals, things like that. Spin it, reframe it. Yeah. Good stuff, Chris. We appreciate you sharing what you did today.
Yeah. So can I have one tiny fun thing to this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do.
So based on just what we just talked about there, so here's a fun one. With the competitor of mine that we have lunch with, we obviously we don't want 100% market share. And yeah, sounds great, but not really. We had a client that was super difficult to work with, very OCD and control stuff, burned tons of time, like an hour shoot would be 2.5 hour shoot. They went over to my client or to my competitor. So he's telling us, like, yeah, I was like, we had to do like 100 takes on this one thing and it didn't work. I was like, well, I'll put this as nice as I can. Haha.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you. Haha. So we all laugh at it, but we did that for that reason.
Oh, I love that, Chris. Thank you for sharing.
When you said, can I share one more fun thing? In my mind, my internal dialogue, Chris, was, is this fun falling down the stairs fun, or is this fun?
Yeah, which one is it? Exactly.
That was fun.
I'll give you another one if you want. So this is actually a reframe thing too. So when I first met this one agent, and someone introduced me, was like, yeah, this guy's a drone photographer. She's like, no, thanks. I already got a drone guy, and literally walked right by. It's like, well, I like the long guy. I was like, hey, no problem. You might need a backup one day. And that was it. Then a year later, she actually reached out because she had an issue with the photographer and she started using us. And this is like still one of our best agents. This is one that's like, she's the advocate. She's helped us grow. I mean, she actually has my real cell phone number, which I don't give out. Like, if my wife and I meet a couple of people, we know them, family, even like, hey, can we have your number? I give them my wife's number. I don't give out my number. I'm just very, very private.
Yeah.
I'm sure your wife loves you for that.
She's much more closer than I am, so it works. But what happened is, and I was shooting this one house and this is like a mixed use building. So the bottom was a commercial and the upstairs an apartment. So she was there for the bottom part there. There's the agent, there's the liaison for the business, and then I'm shooting that. I got that done. Then we go to the upstairs part. The agent had to leave, but then the owner or the tenant was there. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So I got to move around. I'm shooting all the upstairs. Like, okay, got everything shot. I got the bedrooms, got the living room, got the kitchen. I just got to shoot the bathroom. So I go there. I got the camera hand, open up the door, and I have never been so grateful for frosted glass in my life. There's a woman taking a shower. She's going like this, washing her hair. I close the door. I leave. I close the door quietly. Like, shoot's done. And I literally just left. Next morning, the agent turns around, texts me. She's like, hey, I didn't see a picture of the bathroom of the apartment. I was like, you need to call me. And then because I wanted to put it, I was still very new at the time. And I told her, like, yeah, this happened. She just died laughing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's like, that was not going in a text message.
All right, so guys, if you've been dealing with some depression and anxiety, I hope this episode has given you a little levity. Chris, thank you.
Hey, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining us again this week. If you're watching on YouTube or listening to the audio version, we appreciate it. If you have a business topic, now we might not be able to get to it in the near future because we still have several guests lined up for you from the Spiro Sync conference, but we do want to tackle business questions that you might have that we can answer on this podcast. And if we can't, we'll find somebody that can answer it. Drop us a line, hello@spiro.media. And we would love to hear from you. If you have any comments, feel free to leave it on the YouTube channel. And we just really appreciate it. Make sure, like Todd said at the beginning of the podcast, make sure you take some time to be thankful for the blessings in your life. And you guys take a breath. Have a great one. Thanks so much.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.